And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 36. And in this episode of the MSK show, I will be having a conversation with the content creator, The Dragon's Treasure. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Definitely been a long, long day. Ready to
Yeah,
just sit down and
I agree.
just have a nice little interview.
Yes. As you guys know, I had seen Dragon's Treasure on Darmouth's channel actually, and he before we even set this up, he was like, "Do you know who I am?" I was like, "Well, I usually always do my due diligence and looking up someone before I bring him on." And he likes anime, and I was like, "You know what? Usually, if you like anime, you can talk pretty much almost the entire hour and eat that up for the most part." But before any of that happens, this is your first time on the show, so let's get the origin story out of the way, because as you know, superheroes always have like origin stories and everything. So if you were to come onto the show, so on and so forth, later on, like next year or whatever, you wouldn't have to do this again. So I'll start here. How was your life growing up, man?
My life growing up. Um,
You know, one of those tragic superhero stories or something? You were sent
uh,
here by a dying planet here to save our souls because we're disgusting, worthless heathens.
I moved to this country when I was 5 years old, and it was not the best time growing up in the good old school system. But after I got out of there, things got immensely better. My anime journey actually began when I was before I even moved to this country. I was like 3, 4 years old. Granted, when you're 3, 4 years old, you should not be watching stuff like Guyver and Vampire Hunter D. It's a little
Probably.
bit a little bit much for a young child, but the parents just didn't pay attention, I guess. So that's some of the stuff which I began to grow up with. Moved to the country, kind of forgot about anime because, well, I didn't even know anime was anime. It's just the cartoons I watched. Then when Toonami came back, it sparked all of that again, and it grew from there. The tea shop I own, the Dragon's Treasure, is a haven for anime and tea lovers. So it's got a nice little anime theme to it. When we began, it was a little bit different. We used some of the more well-known IPs and used names from characters that we didn't really have the rights to. Granted, I tried to figure out how to get those rights, but Funimation left me on red. So I'm like, screw it. I tried.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have, millions of dollars to give to them in your YouTube content or viewers.
But it is what it is. Now I have original characters, I guess you can say, my own little stuff, and oh, lots of things that happen on the journey. To sum it up is a little bit difficult.
So we'll just go piece by piece a little bit. So you said you're not from this country, but you live in the United States now. You said,
Yes,
where are you originally from then?
a small little country called Bulgaria.
You're from
One of those
Bulgaria?
insignificant, yes, one of those
Okay,
insignificant countries that nobody knows exists.
I heard of it because one of the Vampire Diaries star Nina Dobrev was from Bulgaria, and people were like, "What the fuck is that?" She was like, "Well, the fact that you even said that to me proves that no one even knows where it exists." But Bulgarian women, from what I've seen, are really attractive. I will give them that. There's some pretty hot ladies there, but there's probably hot ladies everywhere. So you're from Bulgaria. You moved here, and you've been here the rest of your life. After you said you're like what 4 years old? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So after that, like, because you're older now, are you married or anything like that?
Nope, no marriage.
Okay. So you're about what, 30, 40 years old, actually?
35.
Okay. So you were born, what, 1989? Something like that,
Correct.
right? Okay. So you grew up in a time period before everything went to shit, as they say.
Yes, I have memories of the pre 9/11 era.
So your channel is big, actually. So
Mm,
what was the inspiration you got to do the content? Like, were you watching a certain content creator and you were like, I want to do this too?
It was a multifaceted reason.
Okay.
One, it was something which I've wanted to do just outside of the business. And then two, I figured, you know what, this is actually a good way to promote the business. People usually get sponsors from people they don't know or care about.
Mhm.
I'm going to sponsor myself. So the Dragon's Treasure is brought to you by the Dragon's Treasure.
Mhm.
So that's why I went with that. I decided to work on content which I liked, which I enjoyed.
Mhm.
There's been ups and downs all over the place. YouTube is a fickle beast, to be sure.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. Yeah. So, what would be your advice for people if they wanted to get into doing content creation on YouTube as far as like growing?
Uh, this is coming. This is advice which I would have hated many years ago, but I've just kind of come to learn to accept. Luck plays more of a significant role than anything else. For example, my two biggest videos. Well, I'll go with my biggest video, Naruto: How to Destroy Your Own World Building. That one's got 2.1 million views, and in the first year and a half, it was basically dead in the water. Then it wasn't because of me. Something happened in the algorithm. It got swept up, and it grew to like 100,000, give or take, the first time around. And then the second time around, same thing. I didn't do anything. Got swept up in the algorithm, made up to 1 million. Third time, 2 million. Nothing which I did. Is that video high enough quality to earn 2.1 million views? Not particularly, but it
I
is.
think it was
I have
because the
many.
title. I think it's because titles like that generally get people interested. Not, and that's how you improve at YouTube, is what I learned. It's something you said right there, which is it's mostly luck, I would say, title and thumbnails. I see a lot of people put in like, and obviously the production of the video matters obviously as well, but that would be like a number 4 thing, because
Yeah.
in order for people to actually get to your video, it would have to be recommended from basically how good your thumbnail is, or how interesting or how catchy your title is. And a lot of people don't put as much effort into that. Like when one of my friends, YG Paisano, said, "Hey man, use Photoshop. Your thumbnails are okay, but they can be a lot better." I've never had a video that I checked where the thumbnail was the problem with the video ever. It's not. I never had that problem anymore. After I just got better at doing it, it's mostly the title that I still struggle with. So I would tell people this: get better at making thumbnails, because you have to attract the people there first. A lot of people's thumbnails are pretty just mundane and basic, and they don't really like tell you anything. You know, they're not really catchy. You know.
Mhm.
You had a video that hit 2.1 million views. That's insane. The highest viewed video I ever had, like a long time ago, on my other bigger YouTube channel before YouTube took it down because of hate speech bullshit. So I had to rebrand this. I had to rebrand this one to my main channel. Highest views I ever got was 12K on one, 10K on 2 others. Those are my highest view videos ever. I couldn't
Yes.
imagine a video getting 2.1 million. That's crazy.
Since YouTube is not my main focus, but a secondary thing to the business, I'm not uploading as often as many other people. I mean, if you look at my video count compared to the last, 5.5 years I've been doing YouTube, it's very small compared to some of the other channels. But I got 4 videos that have hit 100,000. One that's relatively close at 80,000. You'd think there'd be a lot more success, but I guess not. Probably because when the Brutal video first broke, I was at like, I don't know, 100 subs or something. And there's this thing on YouTube where if you look at a channel that's got a very small amount of subs, you don't want to sub to it because you think they're
Yeah.
small and unimportant.
There's that, and I'll add to your point, which is you don't know if they're going to be as consistent, because I think that's been the biggest problem with smaller creators, is like they will not just even be as consistent. You don't know if they're going to last or stand the test of time, is a saying that we have here in America, as people know. So if you sub to this person's smaller channel, it's like, well, are they going to be putting out more videos? It's like, is this going to be a one and done thing? No one knows that if you're small, because you haven't been kind of put through the waters yet. So,
Mhm.
well, speaking of Naruto, and that's one of the things about Naruto. People know I love Naruto. I grew up with Naruto here in America right when it started. I remember like episodes coming out weekly with a lot of anime. Actually, I've been doing this for a while. Honestly, I'm one of those OGs. I remember like, man, you were going through a filler arc in anime. Your ass had to sit there and wait till that shit ended, week on week. People, not like I go on Crunchyroll or whatever you guys watch your animes through and just binge them. Yeah, we didn't do that back in the day. We had to sit there. Example I always like to use is Bleach. Bleach's Bout arc. That shit was trash, and you had to sit there week on week on week on week after episode, just going through. And then there were some animes which bullshitted you some weeks because they just gave you a recap episode. You had to sit through all that stuff, the highs and the lows, as they say. So with Naruto, as much as I love it, the extra reveal stuff ruins it a little bit. Like they reveal that, hey, they kind of just let Naruto out to dry when he was a little bit of a kid after his dad and mom died, and it's like, that doesn't make these characters look good in this light. Masashi Kishimoto, that makes him look bad. I think the problem that Masashi Kishimoto did, he started revealing unnecessary stuff that didn't need to be revealed and just kept going. And keep in mind, you would know this, dude. He killed off Madara because he had to find a cheap way to do it, because he said, I made that guy a little bit too powerful. I just had to kind of kill him off in this way. But the way he killed him off is so weird. He killed him off by, he got Madara died because Zetsu stabbed him. This god tree-eaten eternal Mangekyo Sharingan god character got killed by a stabbing. That's the only way you could have came up with. Naruto couldn't like have put his hand through his heart. Sasuke couldn't have just like slit his throat. No, he had to be stabbed by a Zetsu. Now, to be fair, I guess Zetsu has his own layer of being really powerful, but stabbing, that's the biggest villain they were building up to, and he just got stabbed, you know? So, I'll ask you, since you make that video, did you kind of like honing your perspective on Naruto and other things you potentially wanted to bring up in that video, but didn't remember to?
It was things that were on my mind for years. Because it was 2019 when it came out. I think the original series and the manga ended in 2012.
I think so, yeah.
And I was reading the manga. I stopped watching the anime because it became too much filler. And I don't mean just like episodic filler. I mean, like there'd be scenes and fights. It basically became Dragon Ball Z in terms of just watching the characters be shocked. Then you switch to the other character to be shocked. 12 seconds pass, you go to another character doing a walk. It was just, they were stalling for time because they were catching up to the manga way too fast.
Yeah.
And I was finally able to get out most of what I wanted to say. After they hit 1 million views, I made a sequel, The Addendum, which covered a lot of the main criticisms I heard, which most of them were just bad. But there were some good ones, and I gave them credit where credit is due. But most of them just did not hit home, to say the least. So I just spent my time making fun of it.
Yeah, one of the ones that, you know, with anime, people will project real life things into anime, and but not in a joking way. They genuinely mean certain things. And I'll use an example for Naruto, like the Hashirama's brother, Tobirama, right? People think he's racist because he didn't like the Uchiha, even though the Uchiha killed one of his brothers when they were growing up. And then in Naruto Shippuden, Tobirama is talking to Sasuke and kind of explaining to him, hey, it's kind of like why I thought this way and why I did a certain thing that I did. And then people just keep labeling him as some sort of like bigot. And it's like, were you people going to watch the show? Or are we just like seeing something and then just like putting it on, right? On someone. And it's just like, what are we even doing? Like, just like there's so many things in anime like that, where someone will basically say something and then it kind of catches on because people are not media literate at all. To save their life, they're just stupid. And then they just repeat it constantly. Like, Tobirama hates Uchihas. Given how life panned out, I'm pretty sure that guy was correct. The Uchihas are not good people in any sense of the capacity. Just pointing out, you know?
Yeah. One of the fun things about the video is that it's, last I checked, over 18,000 comments. And I'm pretty sure about 17,000 of them are just one guy who has been in the comment section for years now. Years arguing with people in every single comment section they can find. What is Ihamamad2277? I finally gave you that shout out because Jesus Christ, my guy. The amount of effort you have put in to fight every single person who had anything negative to say about the show is, I have not seen dedication like that anywhere. At least, it's got to be 3 years at this point of him just replying to every comment he finds. It's amazing.
That's amazing. That's dedication. I'll give him that. Yeah.
It's like, you're giving me that boost in the algorithm, buddy. I'm not gonna stop you.
Well, because, you know, a lot of people don't understand this when it comes to like anime such as that one. It's like people dedicated a lot of time to it, you know, year after year, episode. I remember before I even saw the episodes, I wanted to be in tune with what was going on currently, that I would even read the manga chapters at school on certain websites that probably still may or may not exist to this day, hypothetically speaking. So I remember like Shonen Jump books having the manga for a little bit until they canceled the paper books, so you have to go like obviously on digital, but goddamn, like I'm gonna feel pretty angry when the anime does something pretty stupid because I don't know, dedicating my time to watching it, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When it began, Naruto holds a. I said this in the very beginning of the video. Naruto holds a special, awkward place in my heart
Hmm.
because it was the first anime that I began to watch subbed that was not over here in the States.
Hmm.
So, when I began watching DBZ, it was dubbed. When I began watching Yu Yu Hakusho, it was dubbed.
Yeah.
Rurouni Kenshin, Inuyasha, blah, blah, all the Tsunami stuff. Naruto was the first one in which I stepped out of that boundary, out of that sphere. And it was the beginning of it was incredible. There's a reason why I fell in love with it. There's a reason why I watched the first part one minus the filler like 6 times each episode over the course of however many years. The Rock Lee moment, Rock Lee really like hit a special place with me because I was also a martial artist growing up, and I also trained with ankle weights. And so that scene where he took off the ankle weights, it was just that's literally me type situation. And to give a tragic backstory, very similar circumstances of just a loser who couldn't do anything through training decides you better himself and become something more. And so it was like every single day after school for God, I don't know how long, I would watch those 3 episodes of his fight versus Gara. I've probably seen those 3 episodes more than any other media of anything.
Yeah, like I had the manga, like the manga was being sold at my local Walmart. That was actually crazy. Some of the very first, you could say, comic books that I had growing up, outside of like the random Spider-Man comics that I had, like the random encyclopedias that I had for Spider-Man comics, which was basically just manga was my comics growing up. And I mostly had Naruto, I mostly had Dragon Ball Z. We had Bleach ones growing up. We had a lot of them, and Naruto was the one where I don't know, just when I first saw it, I just for some reason just fell in love with it. So when I criticize it, it's not because I truly hate it. It's because I really, really dedicated my time to watching this. I really loved it. I really believed in this dumb little kid who everyone hated him and he became the big shot. So in Boruto, when he missed his Hokage inauguration, I'm not watching that anymore. That is like so everyone remembers in episode 4? Episode 4, even if you watch it dubbed or sub, doesn't matter. The part where he's sitting down and Kakashi says, Naruto, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he says, I want to be the greatest Hokage, all this other stuff. This great like speech that a 12-year-old could give. Then he finally gets to that point. This is a long time after this, dude. It's like so many years after this, episodes, manga chapters, all that stuff. He finally gets to this moment, and he can't go to it because his fucking daughter hits him, and he's knocked out. This is the character that fought Godtree Madara and Sasuke at the end of the show, and fought Kaguya, someone who can create dimensions. But they have his daughter, Hinawari or something, hit him. He's knocked out, and he has to send a shadow clone to his damn Hokage inauguration. What a straight up spit in the face to people who've watched this show
Actually,
that long.
I never watched Boruto, so I didn't know that. That is something
What a straight
too
spit
much,
in the
dude.
face to
Like
people.
too much. You got to pull back in that. You just let him have that moment.
Yeah.
Like after a certain point, it's like it's no longer a joke. It's just you're being a dick.
Good God. There's other things too. It's just like in Shippuden. I like certain moments in Shippuden too. I think Shippuden's not as bad as it may have to be, minus the filler, right? I love moments where like the fourth Hokage comes back and teams up with Naruto, and I didn't mind that they didn't like. I was wondering why they didn't bring back Jiraiya, but I think Musashi Kishimoto made a comment on it a while ago. It's like, why is everyone brought back but him? But it's one of those random things where wouldn't you want to see Naruto grown up and with his dad fighting together? It would be a pretty cool like fan servicey moment. But yeah, it's just crazy how like if you bring up any level of criticism with Naruto fans, they just go crazy. It's like, hey, are we not allowed to have like honest discourse? It's just I have to just get on my knees and suck off every single thing. It's like, and then these are people that probably didn't even grow up watching it. These are people that got a chance to binge everything, so they didn't understand the investment you have to make up front when you're just reading and watching the show when it's just coming out. So yeah, it's one of those things where anime can definitely get people to get on a freaking mindset they've never even felt. I think when it comes to like anime, it makes people feel, do, and say things their minds never even thought they could do. Honestly.
Mhm. I mean, I'm pretty much that way with Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is like my go-to. Same with Good and Lagann. Like
Oh, I
those
love
two
Gurren Lagann.
shows,
Yeah.
I will defend to the death. My, I guess now third biggest video is on Good and Lagann. It was the second video I technically made for the channel, but because of copyright stuff, it got taken down. And I just re-uploaded it when my channel kind of blew up after the first wave of Naruto. They didn't touch it that time.
Mhm.
Well, actually, no, they did. They tried to hit it with copyrights again, but I fought it. They did a really disgusting, sneaky thing.
Mm.
So, in that video, I played the opening when I was talking at some points. The first time, the first round of copyright strikes,
Mhm.
it was like, this is from Gurren Lagann, episode 2. It's like, I fought that. Okay. All of a sudden, whoa, 6 more copyright strikes. Same exact scene. This from episode 3, this from episode 6, this from episode 8. It was all the same opening. It's like, I didn't even know you could do that. I'm going to keep fighting it. I don't care. And eventually they just kind of stopped.
The other thing I'll ask you, because obviously you're wearing a Saiyan armor shirt, you have Dragon Ball Z, obviously. So I'll ask you this, since this just happened this year, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama, he passed away. So what was your initial thoughts about that when it happened? Like, were you just like, damn, one of the people that just created one of the best things ever made is dead? Actually, I couldn't
He
even believe
didn't
it when
just
I first
pass
heard it.
away. They announced it on my birthday that he passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, he died March 1st, but they announced it the 8th. And so my my heart was broken. It was one of those things where I could not accept it. And just
Mhm.
as time went on, it just slowly and slowly entered my heart. I don't drink alcohol only for special occasions, like if
Yeah.
somebody died. And that was one of the few times which I just open up the bottle and I just drink. So I can honor of you, Toriyama. Like that
Mm.
is I don't think there's ever been an event on this planet that has united every single human being more than his death. Because
Yeah.
everybody all around the globe was in mourning.
Yeah.
There was, like one or two people on Twitter who tried to make a thing out of something, but there's always going to be those kinds of people. But they were so
Oh
minuscule
yeah.
compared to the people who were just upset at this man who, let's be honest, because of his works and the inspirations, and whatnot, he basically changed the course of history with what
Yeah.
he did.
He's a person where he made other manga as well outside of like Dragon Ball. I know he made Doctor Slump, which is where Raleigh's from. But Dragon Ball is something he created where it influenced so many people. Even the animes like Naruto and One Piece and all those other ones that came out for like the other kids later on, those guys respected him. Like he created probably one of the most timeless classic pieces of media ever made. And I don't know if I've really ever lived to the point where something like that has been created and it's touched that many people's hearts. There's not many things, it probably less than 20 things you can think of in your head where like this impacted people on a level that is just people have to understand. Still to this day, Dragon Ball fans are arguing over shit that they've been arguing over for years. That's how passionate Dragon Ball is. Like people are still
Which one
arguing
was
over,
truly the strongest boo?
yeah, like strongest boo, dubbed or subbed. Is GT canon? Did Goku die against Frieza? Even if these things are factually already proven, they just keep arguing. Like you got a black guy trying to go Super Saiyan on YouTube like long time ago. He's probably Ultra Instinct by now, but fucking hell, right? So
Mhm.
it's no like he truly is like Stan Lee when it comes to like
Yeah.
anime. That man is just incredible. I can't believe he's just gone. Like it's always like he's gone. He's not around anymore. And he was still young too. It's like only 54 years old, you know?
Man, it's still there's still a part of me that keeps trying to deny it.
Yeah. God,
To
man.
give some context of how much Dragon Ball meant to me, so one of my proudest works is a video called "The Epic of Dragon Ball," which is something I worked over the course of about 5 years because I had to do it in between everything else. I first uploaded into 7 parts as they were finished, and they just released it all into one thing called the Epic of Dragon Ball. Over 4 hours of this thing, completely demonetized, and I knew it was going to be. And even though there was a part of my life, still a part of my life, but back then as well, where I did not have time to do leisurely things. I had a lot of work I had to do. But even so, I did this with no pay of any sort because I felt like I had to honor Dragon Ball in a way that I needed to. And so it's just a 4 hour project. It took my editing skills to a whole new level. I learned how to take out the music of the shows and put in my own, and all of these different types of cuts I did. I had to use, the original, like the Ocean dub and the Funimation dub and Dragon Ball Kai. Had to figure out which scenes looked better, which voiceovers looked better, and just made this thing, which, to me, it's one of my proudest works. View wise, it's at like 1,000, so it's not
Yeah.
it's not making the rounds, but I'm still very proud of it. After Toriyama died the next day, that was the first time which I watched the entire thing from start to finish with no breaks to honor the man's legacy.
The other thing I'll ask you, since you like Dragon Ball a lot, is what are some things that the fans say as far as like certain narratives or theories, whatever, that you just despise and hate?
Nowadays, there's something which people don't realize about Dragon Ball Super, and that is that they're no longer 5 years old. They're not that child who had no worries, who had no responsibilities. Their
Mhm.
mind is fundamentally, physiologically different. So they will not
Yes.
be able to appreciate something of this day like they did back then. And I understand that. And so I try my best to try and put myself into that old mindset. And it's very difficult. And so they don't realize that Dragon Ball Super will not give you the same feelings that you did as a kid. It just won't, because nothing will.
Yeah.
Things might come
Yeah.
close, but it's
Yeah.
different.
Well, it's because you're older,
Yeah.
so even if you were younger growing up watching Dragon Ball, by the time you're older now, and most of us that were in that period are like 30, 35, 40 years old, right? Maybe even 50 in some cases. You've seen, I would hope, countless media, movies and television and anime. Your mind just perceives things differently now. That's not to say that Dragon Ball Z wasn't good or it's like nostalgia bait. No, it generally was really, really good. The problem here now is that like now people are just unfairly criticizing this one for things that it's not even doing. Like I agree, I don't think Super is as good as Dragon Ball Z, but I don't think it's dog shit either. You know?
Like, here is the way I put it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to fanatics like me, there's two types. One,
Mm-hmm.
they will eat any type of dog shit as long as you put the label on it and call
Oh,
it
for
the
sure.
best
Yeah.
thing ever. And two, which is my type, is you better get every single little detail right, or I swear to God, I will find you and I will be that type. Wait, make it good. I will not accept anything less than the best. There's a reason why I never picked up Dragon Ball Kakarot, the game, because the initial plays that I saw people do, it did not appeal to me. It looked like they just phoned it in. Like when Goku just plugged in his tail. Like that's the type of stuff that just makes you go, yeah, you're not deserving of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And after giving Super a lot of thoughts, I think if it aired right after Dragon Ball Z, when I was that age, I would have liked it more than Z. It had its mistakes, yes. The Frieza coming back arc was horrendous, but so is the Majin Buu arc. So you can't just point at these little things. Yes, there were periods in which the artwork was horrendous, and I hated them for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back to the Goku versus Cell fight, that was also horribly animated in many different ways, especially if you do still shots. Because people love doing the still shots with the crazy stuff, but if you do it in Z, you will find a lot of mistakes there as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not taking away from Z, but as the years go on, especially the Tournament of Power, it just holds more and more of a special place in my heart. And
The
right now,
same thing.
Daima is airing.
Yeah.
You're watching that, right? Right?
Daima. How many episodes? It just aired
The
episode
second one
one
came out
subbed,
today.
right? Second one came out
Uh,
today. Okay, yeah. It's not that I don't want to. It's just because I've been so busy. I've been just swamped. I haven't had time to get into anything. But I do plan on it. Dub's not out right now, so good.
no, it's not going to come out until it's going to come out in theaters next month. The first 3
Okay,
episode.
good.
And here's the way I'm putting it: is when it first was announced, I was very disappointed. Like I was actually kind of mad because I was hoping they would continue Super with the manga, but instead we have basically Dragon Ball GT Light with everyone turning into kids.
Hmm.
I didn't like that. I didn't want that,
Yeah.
and so I was disappointed. And after Toriyama, I was originally not even going to watch it, but then after Toriyama passed, I said, "This is the last thing he worked on. I have to watch it in his memory. I'm probably not going to like it, but at least I can say that I watched it." With that being said, it is immensely better than what I was expecting. The artwork is fantastic. The new characters are great. There's a certain feel and flow to everything that just makes it worthwhile. They covered a lot of the mistakes which GT just completely glossed over. For example, spoiler: when the people turn into kids, they couldn't fly right because they were not used to their body weights anymore and the size.
Makes
So it's like
sense.
little details like that are just fantastic.
Hmm.
Like I said, the animation is smooth. I just love the opening and closing of awesome. Like, listen to me. I thought I was gonna hate it, but oh, Toriyama, I apologize for doubting you. It's worthy of the legacy of continuing the Dragon Ball thing. Though they once again, for no reason whatsoever, messed up the continuation of the Potara earrings.
It's
They
always gonna
changed how
get
they work
retconned.
again. And they didn't even need to. I don't know why they put in this extra, but you'll see it when it comes to it. It
Mhm.
was pointless. They just decided to give an extra explanation just
Oh,
because.
that's the whole thing with canon. For me personally, this is what I tell people when it comes to Dragon Ball canon. I just kind of look at Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. I'm going to call that the main canon. Anything that's like Dragon Ball GT, Super, or like Daima, or even superheroes that other not fan made. It's that fan servicey anime that they've been doing a little bit with the time breaking Bardock and
Oh,
everything.
Dragon Ball Heroes.
Heroes, yeah. I
Yeah,
just
I didn't
look at
like
those
that.
as all of different branches of different timelines.
Yeah,
I just look at those as like alternate realities, essentially, or
yeah.
because if you're at DBC's a multiverse, and if you look at Super, I just look at them as just in a different multiverse and different timeline. I don't, I don't, I don't know. I don't really look at the canon stuff as much people do. It doesn't bother me. It's like I don't even see why it's debated on that much. Honestly, it's because
It
it's
doesn't bother me as much as well. My whole thing with Dragon Ball Heroes is one of the things I talk about in my video is that
Mhm.
Dragon Ball is incredibly simple, yes, but there's a certain beauty in that simplicity where it's so simple, it goes back around to being very deep and complex. Where people have these assumptions of how Dragon Ball just does the same thing after every saga. Like one of the most common things they say is that every saga, someone finds a new form, Super Saiyan 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they win the fight. It's predictable. Aside from Goku fighting Frieza, and technically even that one doesn't count, nobody has beaten a villain by simply transforming. Now, Goku had the Frieza thing, but Frieza did come back. It had to be Trunks to finish him off, but let's give him that. He basically won. With Cell, Gohan, he actually failed. Goku had to step in and die. Cell came back. He was going to win, but then everybody else had to all jump in on Cell, interfere with that. Super
Mhm.
Saiyan 3 did not cut it for Majin Buu, took the Spirit Bomb. Um, Going into
Even
Super,
Frieza and Super. Remember Vegeta let his guard down, Frieza blew up the planet. It took
yep.
Whis reversing time to make Goku correct it. And Goku, when he was Super Saiyan Blue, he was losing to Frieza. He had to let Frieza basically, he did the same trick he did in the first time they fought. He just let him be overpowered, and later on he just got his power just calmed down. Wasn't it that he was untrained in his new golden form,
Yeah,
so
so
it
he just
wasn't.
became exhausted.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing with the new form. So yeah, Super Saiyan God failed against Beerus, Super Saiyan Blue against Frieza. When they went to the future with the future Trunks arc, there was no new form except Trunks, weird Super Saiyan Ikari, I think they called it, but that didn't win the day. It was not a new form that won it. Tournament of Power, Goku hit 3 levels of transformation if you wanted to count Kaioken times 20 as a new transformation, which I kind of do. So he hit Kaioken times 20 for the first time. That failed. Ultra Instinct Omen. That failed. And then Mastered Ultra Instinct. That also ultimately failed. And took a 3-on-1 assault to ultimately win. So the idea that all you need is a new form and you win, that's never been a thing with Dragon Ball. And there's all
Yeah,
these things,
yeah.
all these assumptions that people have about the show never actually exist.
It's because people are, I'll be honest with you, it's because people are stupid. They are not media literate. They
Yeah.
don't actually really understand what they're looking at. They could probably point to you on a surface level what's going on because everyone can do that. But if you
Mhm.
actually ask them the deeper meaning of certain things, they just won't. They just won't be able to tell you honestly. I think people just get off work, go home, and just turn on something and don't even pay attention to it because they're just
Yeah.
that tired from many things. Honestly, you know.
And that's the reason why Dragon Ball Heroes annoys me so much. Like when you have Super Saiyan 3 Rose Goku Black versus limit breaking Gogeta Blue. It's like there's no story behind that. There's no emotion to it. The fact that he went Super Saiyan 3 just because, fancy stuff, it doesn't mean anything. There was nothing that went up to it. Same thing with Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta getting that whatever term they have to make people strong, the limits break thing, which they have in that show. I there's that is a stereotype that people have of DBZ, and they're putting it into a show, and it's not
Mhm.
as fun.
Yeah.
There's certain things that happen, like I don't know if they actually even did this, but if they do like Broly versus Jiren, the fun little what ifs like that.
Yeah, I think it should have been like that. Like little fun what ifs like that. You play into the whole Xenoverse thing of like one person traveling around and fighting the different villains. I like the one of the episodes they did was like it was Super Saiyan 4s and they were fighting this other character and then Goku went Ultra Instinct. It was just cool to see Ultra Instinct Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Goku next to each other. And they're like, he was like, oh wait, this one's kind of way more powerful. That was kind of cool. Things like that are cool, but not just like, hey, I have Broly Super Saiyan 4. It's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. Is that supposed to mean anything? I don't
Yeah,
know. You're just
that's the whole show. Hi, cat.
Mhm. Hi,
That's the whole
cat.
show. And is just not entertaining. Like, unless there's a story behind the Kamehameha that gets shot, it's just light beams. So yeah.
Yeah, Dragon Ball is one of those animes where, for like, I think for the area that I'm in, people always considered it. I don't know, maybe you heard this too. People always considered it like a beat 'em up anime. It's like, yeah, I guess on like the surface level, they fight each other, but there's way more depth to the show. Like as I got older, I realized there was way more depth to it. My feeble little mind couldn't grasp any of that concepts. There's actually way more to it than what's on the surface level. It's just people's attention spans and people's literacy skills are in the toilet, like legit in the toilet. The fact that
I made a whole
they
video on that as well. I don't even know what it was called, but it was about media literacy and how many people lack it, and it's terrible.
Oh, Dragon Ball fans do it the worst. They're still that like after the Cell, the Sensu being one I told you, and the Goku being a bad dad. The next one I have to do is how God I can't believe you have to do this. Guys, Frieza did not kill Goku and on Namek didn't happen. Even if God, the fact that that still has to be explained to people
I'm
is
pretty sure that was filler,
insane.
so it doesn't count.
That's the thing is, no one knows that. They're not smart enough. They're like, did this really happen? Did he really kill him? Even though he couldn't be revived. The dragon. Oh, fuck, I hate people. You're making me hate him, man. Oh my god. So, what are your favorite Dragon Ball Z moments, or sorry, Dragon Ball moments?
My favorite?
Like, give a top 5.
Oh, fuck me. Oh,
Well, my wife doesn't do that. Tyrone does that to her.
Hmm, it's really hard to pin down. I mean, in everyone's top 5, if they do not say this, I'll pull the card of you're not a real Dragon Ball fan of Goku going Super Saiyan the first time. Because when that
Oh yeah,
happened,
yeah,
and
yeah.
what was I, 10, 12-year-old me seeing that?
You're just like,
Like, oh my god, it awakened something in me. And then, like I said, I'm also used to be a martial artist, and
Mhm.
that was an obsession that rivaled that of Goku and Vegeta, the way I was obsessed with martial arts. And so that was a huge part of my whole existence. And Goku hitting Ultra Instinct, and making the gods stand up to show the respect for him. And even now, I'm kind of getting like that lump in my throat just thinking about it. That's definitely one of the greatest moments for me. Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 when against Cell awaiting it. Well, at the time, it wasn't Super Saiyan 2. At the time, it was him just awakening his inner power. And they somewhat retconned that after the fact, which I accept. That's a fine retcon.
Yeah, because as we know now, the people that used to dub the original Dragon Ball Z were very bad at doing it.
Mhm. And so, that's the
Mine,
type of story stuff we're talking about. Like
yeah, yeah,
Gohan's saga of doing this lasted for
mhm,
many, many years until he did that.
mhm,
That's one of the things that makes Dragon Ball so special. And that's a
mhm,
lot of things which many shows nowadays lack. If Dragon
mhm.
Ball was some modern day 12 episode crap that we always see nowadays, Goku would have hit Super Saiyan by the end of episode 1. And so this is the journey of the Super Saiyan. It's like there's no emotional buildup, there's no feeling of everything that's led up to that moment. And that's one of the things I tried to capture with the whole video of just seeing, we grew up with this little monkey child fighting all of these different villains and monsters and ninjas and robots and all this other stuff. It all coming accumulated to this moment. And that is what Dragon Ball does fantastically, if that's the word anymore.
One of my favorite moments, always my favorite, is when Vegeta first turned Super Saiyan. Both dubbed and subbed. That is just one of the best moments. Trunks when he first comes in, because Goku going Super Saiyan was surprising to me, but then to see Trunks, I was like, "Who's this random kid?"
Oh
I was
man,
like, "What the? There's another one of these? That's cool
yeah,
as
my
hell."
mind went crazy with speculation when it happened. My initial thought with that was that there were other Saiyans that survived besides the ones that we know, and had a Frieza is there. They're all coming out of the woodwork to challenge Goku, and they're all Super Saiyans. So we're gonna have like a big Super Saiyan showdown. That was my main theory until, of course, Trunks ruined it all. But just imagine if that was airing in like today's era, and people, assuming there were no spoil. One of the things that annoyed me is I found out about Master Ultra Instinct because the toy line, they had to announce it before it actually happened on the show, and it really pissed me off because I wanted to experience that. I wanted to experience the white hair. They ruined that. But if we had the Trunks moment in this day and age, oh, Twitter would be going crazy with speculation and thoughts and theories.
Oh
It
yeah,
would have
yeah.
been fantastic.
I will say, one of my other favorite moments in the show, I might even do it to a top 10 on this. I really enjoyed the show as much. When Goku and Vegeta are at the tournament in the Majin Buu arc, and he was talking about he's just a joke. He was just calling him this shit talking him, and he's like, "Your debts must be paid." I was like, it's
God,
too
yeah,
good.
that. Oh,
God,
and
Majin
his
Vegeta
debts
was a great,
must be paid. Just
great,
that line
yeah. Majin Vegeta, a
resonates
great
in me.
character. Yeah, fucking hell. He even shit talked Gohan too. He was like, he was just shit talking Gohan. I was like, man, just love that moment there. Goku versus Majin Vegeta is one of my, I think my personal favorite fight of the show. Dragon Ball Super, still my favorite moments. Oh, when Vegito came back. I love Vegito's awesome, man. It's the fact that they know Fusion's broken as hell. That's the reason why Fusion just can't ever get a W, because they know it's broken. The only time it's gotten a W is in that Fusion Reborn Janemba movie, which is not canon. It was crazy. People talk about not canon and everything.
Mhm.
The only thing that Toriyama has basically said that's not canon is those movies that people like. The Cooler ones, the Janemba one, the Lord Slug one. To my knowledge, those are the only things that he doesn't really consider non-canon. He says they're in a different timeline, alternate universe. So people are debating about non-canon, but the creator's already kind of admitted what is non-canon to him.
Mhm.
Essentially, he gave his, and he worked on them. He worked on a little bit, but he even took Broly as a design over for
Mhm.
himself. So Dragon Ball fans are idiots. Let's just say
You
that.
know what's one of the strangest opinions I have
Mhm.
in terms of the movies? For the reason which I have no explanation for whatsoever, I don't even know where to
Mhm.
begin. I love Turles. I just, for some reason, love him as a character.
I don't mind
And
that one. I like that one. Yeah.
when original Xenoverse came out and he was not in the game, I was really pissed off. And when Xenoverse 2 came out and they had the trailer to show all the movie characters, and I saw Turles, again, I was just really excited to play Turles. Why? I don't know. I don't know why I've been. I even watched the Tree of Might a couple of days ago. I rewatched that, and after rewatching it, I'm still. I don't know why I love him so much, but I do. I want to make him my main in Sparking Zero. I don't know why I'm like this. There's no reason.
Mhm.
And if somebody said that he's a horrible character, I wouldn't even disagree.
Yeah. He's technically Goku Black without like the story
Yeah,
depth to him.
Mega Goku. Just something I don't know. Maybe it's his techniques because he has
Yeah.
very unique and cool looking techniques. The little circular energy ball he does, the
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
he did with Piccolo that was just brutal. The beatdown he gave on Goku, slamming him into a tree.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
something about that resonated with me when I was a child when I first watched that thing.
Oh,
So I must have been like what 9?
was it the ocean dub? Oh, the ocean dub, that was just a party there. When Piccolo blasted him and he's like, "You painted my fingernails." Like, who dubbing these lines, man? Stuff
Man,
is peak cinema over there. Holy crap, man! So, man, what's one of my favorite ones of those? So, Cooler's Revenge. I liked both Cooler movies. Turles one I liked. The Broly one I did enjoy and I liked it. Outside of the crying motivation, I thought it was good. The Hiruda Garden one wasn't bad. I thought that one was actually pretty solid. I didn't. I would have to go back and rewatch it. So I've only seen some of them once. Like the Garlic Jr. one, I only seen that one once. The Dr. Wheeler one, I only saw that once. The Lord Slug one, I didn't really care for that one all too much. I thought it was kind of just meh, honestly. The Broly Second Coming movie, I thought was meh. That was okay. Get the ending is probably the best part of it. The Bio Broly one is just yikes. That was throw that in the trash. Technically these aren't movies; these are specials. But I really thought the History of Trunks was the History of Trunks was great. Honestly, I know it's not a movie technically, but I thought that was great.
still,
Honestly,
it was that was an emotional ride. I mean, I'm
Mm,
just talking about I'm like talking about Trunks and Close Revenge. It's awakening old memories from childhood.
God, man.
Like it is a show that shaped my psyche. Let's be honest here. It shaped my consciousness going up.
Everyone had a moment where they were just standing and they just try to go Super Saiyan. Everyone did it. We've all
I mean,
tried
I
it.
can go Super Saiyan, just I'm old, so it's not as easy nowadays.
Yeah, healing is harder now because you're just old and we're broken down. We don't have hyperbolic time chambers to go in and train and get stronger for about 3 years worth of training in just one day. Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of which,
all I should have what?
did you ever play the original Dragon Ball card game, the TCG?
Oh, you're talking about the cards that had the power levels on the side, right?
Uh-huh.
I collected those as a kid. I never played it,
Yeah.
but the
I
cards
collected
were
and
cool.
played. It's really sad. My favorite card of that, and I was able to draw it finally. It was one of those things where I bought one of those like whole booster set things, and it was in the final pack that I opened was Vegeta the Malevolent or Majin Vegeta the Malevolent.
Huh.
It was I was in love with that thing. Unfortunately, thanks to good old parents not understanding things, they ended up throwing it out. But now you can find it. The higher quality ones go for like $1,600.
Oh.
Lower quality ones pre-owned $350. This one's $2,600. I'm seeing $450 for this
Mhm.
mid one. It's like, oh, I could have made a little bit of money with all the other cards I had as well.
Oh, I remember Bandai's been the worst one for that because I remember they did another Dragon Ball TCG they literally copy and pasted the Naruto CCG card art, like the cards for the way the cards looked in the style and everything. And then after that, they did the Dragon Ball Super trading card game. I don't know if the Dragon Ball Super trading card game is still going or is it still as popular, but I don't Bandai's always kind of squandered other DBZ potential. Like they squandered the TCGs very
Yeah.
bad.
I tried playing the new one, quote unquote.
The Dragon Ball Super
And
one,
yeah, when they put it on the PC
I tried.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like see what you're trying to do. This is just not fun. Like you don't feel any of the characters. I don't like it.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. Like you guys try to do something different. Not even. You try to
Yeah.
kind of go slightly outside the
Mhm.
box, but in a really bad way. I mean, go back to the power level things. That was unique. That was different.
Yeah, that's cool.
All the
Yeah.
different systems they had with that. I want to
Mhm.
bring that back. Granted, they had the horrible issue of every saga that came out basically made the previous saga cards obsolete. But It-
Oh yeah. Hmm. That
but they
was the
could have
problem
fixed that if
too.
they
Mhm.
relaunched it. If they
Uh,
relaunched it, they just redid the whole thing.
yeah, they burned through too much of the current stuff so fast. They never really utilize they like I think with card games like that, you have to basically use the previous arcs of characters and stuff like that and only use the new stuff when you really need it cuz that was the problem with the Dragon Ball Super stuff also because it was really expensive getting into that card game honestly. Outside of like structure decks, right? Like new stuff that was so hard to pull, cards you needed were like what, $200-300 a single card. That's crazy. God, man. Leave it to Bandai to always squander some DBC potential. Yeah, I haven't got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero yet. I played all those Tenkaichi games. I played 1, 2, and 3 when I had my PS2, actually. I remember having them, honestly. I love the Tenkaichi games. I think they're awesome, honestly. It was crazy to hear, like, they're making the Tenkaichi 4. I'm like, really? That's
Mhm.
crazy. Because I haven't made one since like 2008. 16 years since I fucking saw one of them games. But I love those games. Those games are awesome. Hell yeah, the score. My personal favorite of those is Tenkaichi 2. That's my personal favorite one. Man, the soundtrack in that game is just it's too good. The scores in the Tenkaichi games are awesome. The opening cinematics are really cool. They were to me just better versions of the Budokai games, honestly. Like the Budokai games are like okay when you played them, but the Tenkaichi games were like a step above and like a much different level.
I only played a little bit of Tenkaichi 3 when friends had it, and we just, played
Yeah.
every now and then. I never owned it and really got into it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is realistically my first Tenkaichi experience with Sparking Zero. I played the
Mm-hmm.
first Budokai. I'm pretty sure I did not play the second or third because, things. Things are going
Yeah.
on in life.
Yeah.
Um, I have thoughts of this current game. It Depending on where you land, it's either does something really, really well or really, really awful, depending on what you're looking at. The story mode in that game is the worst story mode I have ever seen with a Dragon Ball game. It is pathetic. I can't believe they okayed this stuff in so many different ways. Vegeta's story ends at Z and doesn't go into Super. You kidding me? Some of the alternate paths, what they require is you cannot get it by just normal playing. You have to just spam ultimates to weigh down the opponent. The characters in the story mode can break the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have zero key and zero skill points, you can't do the vanishing attacks and whatnot. But in the story mode, they can. The enemies can, and so you can't like plan ahead or strategize. It's just roll of the dice, stupid things like that. But on the other side, the custom battles has been one of the greatest things I have seen for the Dragon
Mm-hmm.
Ball game. I am obsessed with those right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to do any online battles. We'll see how that goes. Because I'm taking things real slow because I have things I
Yeah.
have to do. An old man, I got responsibilities.
What?
But
That's crazy. Responsibilities
yeah,
as a man. Never heard of them.
uh-huh. you know, I'm I'm enjoying it, minus the story mode.
Yes. There was this video you had on your channel about Nick Rekieta. Good God. How do you feel about Nick
Yeah,
Rekieta now? Because that guy's just a piece of shit.
yeah.
Fuck that guy.
That was a scary moment of releasing the first video because Nick Rekieta, for lack of a better word, helped make me. Because before him, before he gave that shout out on his channel, I was basically nothing, a nobody. Nobody
Mm,
was buying my tea. It was before my YouTube channel exploded.
mhm,
So I had nothing going for me and gave me that shout out. And I'm still grateful for it.
mhm,
It doesn't change what he did 4 years later. But I was nervous because, my audience was built around him. And so when I made that "You Need Help" video that came out before he was arrested and everything I feared came
mhm,
true, I feared that I was gonna like lose most of my audience, that people were gonna just unsub and unsubscribe from my T stuff and just basically just abandon me. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm gonna have to. And I hope this doesn't blow back in my face. Luckily, it didn't.
mhm. So, what was your initial thoughts of the whole like daughter testing positive for the drug? Actually,
Oh, that led
Uh,
to my second video where I'm just like, okay, before it was "You need help," and now it's just "F you." Like, the
God.
relationship stops here. Like, you have gone down a dark path, and you are not apologetic or feel sorry for anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I cannot support this crap anymore. Like, I'm done with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, friendship stops here.
Yeah, like man just dug his own hole. I mean, he's just I couldn't get into that guy, honestly. His
Mm.
content was not for me. I There was one video he did where he grilled like Vito, and that was kind of cool. But I remember like the Eric July
Now,
situation was just he was so I just cringed with it. He's just making a bunch of stupid lies up, just saying just wrong, just not just I don't even like using that word objectively all that much, but just objective lies that make no sense at all. Like the whole Dick Masterson thing was just really just off me. I was like, yeah, you're like this guy's a piece of shit. Fuck this guy. Like can't do it. Nope.
yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, I see you have the roof over his head. So mm, ahead of time to make sure no one explodes. I don't mean this in an offensive way. I don't care for Eric July. And I don't mean
No,
that
that's
in a
fine.
I hate
Yeah.
him. I mean that in
Yeah.
a I don't like comics thing. So I don't do anything with comics.
Oh, you're fine, man.
Yeah.
You're good.
And so when people talk about Eric July, I mean, if there was a reason to hate him, 1 second. No. Stop it, phone. Sorry. Um, if there was a reason to hate him, I'll do it. I don't care. I've never given him a dime. Probably won't give him a dime. But I keep seeing the things people are saying, and it's just like there's nothing here. Like the dude is doing his thing. Even if his comics would mid, well, so be it. Other people like him, and he's actually building something. That's one of my biggest criticisms of the cultural right. Like, you mother effers don't build a damn thing. The most that you ever do is complain about other people. That's why people like EVS, they're no longer making comics. They're just going on YouTube and just trying to insult everybody else, call everybody else stupid. That's all they're
Yeah.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. And I do like what Eric July is building, even if it ends up being mid. Again, I've never read it. I don't know. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe it's the greatest thing ever. Maybe I'll hate it. It doesn't matter. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is for me, it wouldn't even bother me if someone didn't make anything because that itself is it's just a really long, big process of doing something. My thing generally is why are people harping on this one guy so much because he just became a millionaire overnight, and a guy that was building a YouTube channel for a long time anyway had some success because he announced a new comic book company. I don't know. It just seems so stupid to be like, hey, this guy's the enemy because he's like checks notes, making comic books with characters on a piece of paper. It's like, is there nothing better in life someone can do? Is there nothing else that is entertaining to someone? EVS is just one of the people of all time. Certainly
I
one of the
genuinely
Hemans.
hate him for everything he's become. He is a disgusting human being. I remember my first interaction with him. Again, I
Mhm,
don't know comic stuff, but I saw some people complaining about how late his comics were. And so I was asking about that.
mhm.
And what I said, again, not really even knowing who the hell he is, was something really milquetoast like, well, if it's true, that's pretty bad, but I don't really know. So, whatever. And then he comes into the chats or into the tweets and starts doing a little passive aggressive, trying to bitch me out type of thing. It's like, mother effort, I didn't even insult you. I said, if this is true, this is bad. If there's no reason for it, that's it. And you're coming at me? No. I ain't playing this game. Let's find out who you are. Oh, wow. You are an awful human being. You are disgusting. And people are still giving you money? God, this entire movement is trash.
Well, and I heard you love Pokemon a lot. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. He hates the Twitch thoughts. Yeah, that Twitch has just become such a cesspool of trash, honestly.
Mhm.
Oh God. No, it's
Mm.
just one of these things where people like EVS are attacking people that are quote unquote on his side because he's trying. It's because other people were more successful than him at just doing content. It's really just all it is,
Yeah.
honestly. He's one of those people now at this point where like let's hypothetically say Gary says Joker 2 is bad. Then he'll say Joker 2 is good because he wants those people that don't like Gary to like his opinion. That's just what he's doing now.
I've
It's
noticed that
it's
too.
so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to actually see that from someone where like I agree with people. Not every single movie is like woke trash. Obviously, that would just be ridiculous. But you yourself should have a good enough decent way of explaining your opinion, or make, if you do content or whatever, to make sure that people know this is what you think. Because the problem is it's the same thing you brought up earlier, and that's what I would say as far as like the creating something. If other people are mad that other people's opinions matter more, then make your opinion matter. Then you can make videos, you could write articles, anything. People are just like sitting there going like, well, I don't like this guy's opinion. Well, you got to be saying your opinion, putting it out there, because that takes some balls to do that. I might disagree with someone, but I do think it takes balls to put your opinion out there and put your feet to the fire. So there's a level of respect there you have for when that happens. Not enough people do that. People just want to kind of like shit on someone else's opinion when they never put theirs out in general. You know, it's like I'll put like my top 5 movies. Why those movies are bad? Well, give me yours. I like Twilight. Well, okay, your opinion's trash then. Just things like that, actually. But last few things, man. I'll ask you here before we wrap up is, do you have anything planned coming up in 2024, going into 2025 that you want to let the audience know about?
If I can finish it in time, tomorrow I'm coming out with a new video
Mm-hmm.
that is going to take a very negative look at Mr. Grums, aka Mark Kern. Do you know who that is?
Grums, the gaming Juro guy on Twitter, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy who's making Ember.
Mm-hmm.
So in the original script, it was going to be. It's kind of like the same thing I did with the Ricada videos 1 and 2, but I'm skipping the 1 and going to the 2, where I'm just going to be trashing him because I looked at a timeline of his work and what he's been doing, and he's kind of a scumbag. There's really no nice way to put it. And it's coming from a guy who supported him, who promoted him on his Discord, who actually I found a clip 3 years ago of when he was on Bricada, and me sending a super chat saying, thank you for giving me some of the best memories of my childhood with OG World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's coming from a guy who used to be a fan of your work. Like, you've been working on this game for 8 years, and all you've been trying to do is get out a demo, and you can't even do that. For 2 years, you were not working on the game, but you were collecting the subscriptions, but you told nobody, and all this other stuff. And so I'm going to be telling it to him, a little bit into EVS, and I'm going to do something at the end of the video. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's going to be a real taboo thing in this side of YouTube that may blow back in my face, but I just don't care anymore. To give some idea, the right is horrible with the culture war because they can't do crap. And the best they got is Grums, and the video's gonna be titled something like Grums is a ticking time bomb, because he's going to explode back in people's faces. And EVS, with all that he's doing quote unquote, like, you guys have made no traction whatsoever.
Oh yeah,
In
Comic Skate is a failed
Yeah.
movement. That is doing nothing. Yeah.
And so I'm
Wally,
gonna be
what's with
doing
you? It says Grums has failed to deliver for years now. Sad, but so it goes. I think I tried to get him on a show at one point, but he said he was really, really busy. We had no bad interactions with each other. I follow him. He puts out the gaming news or whatever, calling people out for that bullshit. That's all I've seen. I didn't know he had a game in development that he hasn't finished yet.
Yeah.
All I see is just the guy that posts about the news when it comes to all the new gaming bullshit that's been
Yeah.
going on
And that's
recently.
all he does, and that's what I'm really getting sick of. And people have like put him up on a pedestal because he points all these things out. If he didn't exist, I would be seeing those things 1,000 times over on Twitter anyway.
Oh yeah.
That's all that this sphere has become. They look at what the left does even if it's crap, they're still creating everything that you're looking at because all you're doing is reacting to it. You're looking at what they're doing and making videos and making your money off of what they're doing, but you're not creating anything. Again, for Grums, it's not the game that he hasn't finished, it's the demo. He promised the demo when he started fundraising for this thing in 2016 and said, like, the demo will be out in like 8 months or something along those lines.
Okay. No, I'm videos like that will definitely oh god, it's when you make videos like that, people are gonna be like, oh my god, he really did it. He called that person out. But then again, is anyone else gonna do it? You know, that's the thing. They're just content
Mm.
with just putting their it's like that thing that the average person does. They just put their head in the sand and then they just go, oh, it'll get better. That's just really not ever how that
Yeah.
goes, honestly.
And I'm
Oh yeah.
somebody who's been quote unquote fighting the culture war since before the culture war was even a thing. Back in like let's say 2006, 2007,
Yeah.
people thinking I'm boxing as shadows. I'm like, no, no, there's some problems underneath the surface. You guys are not seeing it. I'm trying to show you. God, I wish you would listen to me. God, I wish I made a YouTube channel, 15 years ago to talk about this stuff. I'd be a millionaire, but I never did. And it's my fault, but it's just like I have been involved in this stuff for a long time. I stepped away from it for
Mhm.
many years because I decided to focus on myself in the business. And only in the past couple of months did I decide, okay, I am coming back to this culture war stuff because I have to. I look at everybody else around me. Everybody else is pathetic, to say the least. Besides Kirsch, thank you, Willie Wham. Kirsch is one of the good ones.
And you're obviously a huge fan of Matt Walsh.
Mm, just
God.
everything, just every level. It's like you guys are so used to losing that when you take moments that you don't lose as bad, you take it as a win. It's embarrassing.
Mhm.
Somebody needs to grab the reins and make stuff happen. I actually don't want it to be me, but I like to play pretend until I can find the person who is. And then I can direct everyone to that guy.
Mhm.
Somebody who I would like to follow, who is actually doing things and making things. I have many things which I'm creating myself, but I don't feel I have the power and the resources to make anything happen. But
Yeah,
if you
it's
go
always
by
yeah.
with my business, because I'm making all the teas, the coffees, the soaps, putting the anime characters on it, making the anime characters, etc. If you go by a dollar to production value, I blow all of these people out of the water
Mhm.
because they're getting, look at EVS, millions of dollars in Kickstarter and GoFundMe. Takes half a decade to get out one comic.
Mhm.
Well, what is that? Look at Grums. Over
Well, yeah.
$600,000 that we know of
Yes.
for this game. Can't even put out a 30-minute demo.
That's the thing is why me myself is the reason why creating stuff is hard. You know, that's why I tell people if you want to do it, but make sure you're gonna have to deliver, right? Because you have people that might want your products, and then I just find it disrespectful that you have people there waiting for your fucking products, and you're sitting there just not getting or actively trying to get them stuff that they paid for. You know, because let's be honest here, if let's say hypothetically you had a crowd fund for one of your like your anime stuff, and you got a lot of money. It's like $10,000. Well, to be fair, for being completely honest, that's not technically your money. That's their money that they put on you to get to deliver them a product, and they want that product in a timely manner. This is just how people are, you know. The fact that we have people that like EVS who can't do that is just disgusting, honestly. You know, and he'd rather just sit on his trash cast to just talk shit about people. Yeah, that's really great use of time. But the last thing I'll ask you, man, is do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone in particular and anything else you want to say before? Do you have any other closing thoughts or statements before we end the show?
For closing thoughts and statements, go to my website, thedragonstretcher.com. Check out the anime teas, the soaps, and the coffee, handmade. The coffee I roasted myself, so I grinded myself. So when you order it, it's not been sitting for weeks until it finally gets to you. I roasted to order. Again, the soaps I make myself. Teas are my mix, or my mixes, I should say. Also, check out my second channel I started earlier this week, T-Man's Empire. Technically not associated with the Dragon's Treasure, but, buying it still funds me and the channel. It's centered around politics and culture war stuff. It's separate from the Dragon's Treasure because I want to keep that a little bit more sacred. Actually, back in November, I was getting tired of the algorithm screwing me over and over again. So I went down the route of clickbait. It was just really crappy, just crap them on out, clickbait videos. And it was a success, like a big success, but it was killing my soul, so I had to stop. So I went back to my long form, in depth videos, the ones everyone claims they want, but nobody ever actually watches.
That's what I learned about YouTube subscribers is the things that they say they want, they don't watch, and the things that they say they don't want, they watch. That's how it works. That's how it always works.
So, in terms of giving shout outs, God, off the top of my head, I don't know. Go to my Discord. We have several content creators there, a couple of VTubers. See what they have. But off the top of my head, I'm sure there's plenty, but I just can't think of any right now. Kirsche, the VTuber. Do you know her?
No, I never heard of her. No.
No, you should. You should. I'll send you something on Twitter.
Yeah.
She is a VTuber who will be up your alley, my alley, the alley of anybody who is remotely like us. She does real good work. If you know anything about, do you know about Bridge, the new Bridge initiative?
No.
No, it's the renaming of DEI and how companies are now instead of doing DEI stuff, they're saying, "Oh, we're stepping away from that. We're really just moving
Oh,
on
okay.
to something
I
called Bridge."
vaguely yeah, because
Yeah,
the website
Huge is,
Super Inc. redid their entire website. It's something
yeah,
to do with that, right? Yeah. Okay. Now I remember. Yep. You're right. Yep.
yeah. Kirsch is the one who found this stuff out, and she is the one who actually broke it. And aside from Sargon of Akkad and his Lotus Eaters, nobody has mentioned that she is the one who did it, and it's kind of frustrating because she is doing genuinely good work. So yeah, tomorrow I'll send you stuff, and
Yeah.
you'll see.
Anytime, man.
You will
Yeah.
enjoy it, I promise.
Yeah, it was great talking to you, man, for the first time. I know next time you come on, we'll have other stuff to talk about or have you on a panel show. But to be fair, you're always busy. There's no way to land you at all. So
Oh, dear
this
God. Yeah.
so just want to say thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK show, and we will